We are live, and today we're going to talk about your FIRE plan. What is your plan to be financially independent and retiring early? So, if we're going to discuss about a lot of things today, make sure you tune in, hit the like button, and let's get into it after the intro.
Hey, yeah. It's all about wealth engineering. Might be something that you're not used to. It's okay, cause I'm here to introduce you to concepts. Time to grow and make big moves. All about crypto, come see. Stocks and business, yes indeed. Got the info that you need. Hosted by my homie JC. Hey, yeah. Wealth engineering. Stacking and stacking it up. It's time to generate wealth. Till you living like Scrooge McDuck. Hey, wealth engineering. It's time to show you the game. Till you living like Richie Rich. Till you ballin' like Bruce Wayne. Hey, you ain't gotta be an expert, no problem. It don't really matter where you at, just start it. It'll take time, hard work, and
What's up, guys? This is JC, and welcome to the Wealth Engineering Podcast. I create content for the purpose of learning, keeping, and multiplying money. And how do we do that, guys? By investing in stocks, crypto, real estate, and business. And in today's video, we're going to talk about some principles, basic principles that you can use to get to your retirement, building generational wealth, and definitely retire early, right? We like that. But more importantly, financially independent. I've made a stream earlier this week about the importance of financially independence, especially in the coming years. And I make sure you tune in for that, right? You'll have a link here if I will watch it on replay. But yes, guys, we go. There is an importance to get to financially independence, and because of the threat of AI, I strongly believe that either you own the technology that will replace you, or you get replaced by the technology. And this is why I'm going to make content at least once a month on the urgency of AI, right? And I also have a playlist coming. I already published a video about the introduction of the big ideas from Cathy Woods. And I'm also going to put more content on breaking down this report because there are so many ideas that we can use to invest in or and surround our portfolio with basically opportunities from innovation that can help us ride this wave, right? So that's basically what I'm doing. But I also wanted to provide some context about the FIRE independence, sorry, the FIRE strategies, financially independent, retire early, and we're going to talk about that on a basic level today. And I'm going to give you some tips and tricks of how I was able to do it. Now, I want to start by saying I am not a mentor in this strategy in a sense that I am not currently financially independent. I'm also not retired, and I would say fairly early because I'm less than 40 years old, turning 36-year-old guys this month. So I'm actually going to offer a discount on my course, 36% off on everything you need to know before you start making your first investments. If you have been investing in the last 2-3 years, you want to check it out because it's going to give you a great foundation. But hey, if you don't want to do it, make sure you hit the like anyway, subscribe, and you can still learn some games on my content. I create content to really help you, motivate you to move forward. But guys, so I'm not necessarily a mentor because I have not achieved this. But what I can say is I have started the plan. I'm well I'm well on my way to be financially independent. I can share with you some ideas, some thought process, and we can review what the common people are saying about FIRE, the best way to do it, and I can give you some tweaks on things that I believe is the most efficient way to achieve it. And from that perspective, that's why I want to make this stream. Just want to make that clear. But yes, that's basically what we're going to talk about today: financially independence. But before I start any further, I want to go to my chat and pay tribute to everyone here. Before the billion, salute. Thank you very much for being early. And I can't wait to see your stream coming this week. I think I may not be able to aggressively go with the super chat net, but don't worry, it's coming. We have time, my man. We have time. And thank you for being yourself and being honest and genuine. That this is a very valuable skills to have and character as a person to have. And in these streets, you never know, right? James Tony, how you doing? Salute, sir. Thank you for being here. That intro is fire. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. DJ Flip, what's up, everyone? Thank you, DJ Flip, for being here. Beatback Bull, thank you for your support. Thank you very much for coming here. And let me see, J Bones, how are you doing, my brother? My brother It's a good evening, brother. Just coming through to say what's up. Thank you very much, J Bones. Salute to you. Wally, thank you for being here. And I'm very happy to see you guys today because actually I was thinking of canceling the stream today. I didn't feel it right. Pretty tired. I didn't sleep well to say the least. But I've again, it's all about the purpose. I try to stay focused on the purpose, and the wealth engineering brand is a brand to bring awareness about wealth, building wealth, move on, right? We need to build so that we can get financially independent and own our destiny, right? Have freedom so that we can have the freedom to do what we want when we want. And that's what we want to do. And I want to motivate as well as possible. So to see you guys in the chat still motivate me, and that's the driving force that sometimes, even though I don't feel like doing the stream, I still at it. And that's why I love streaming, guys. Thank you very much for being here. Peter Investor M, salute to you, the only member that joined my program so far or joined my YouTubes. But thank you very much for being here and your support. And thank you for always being here. And we're staying consistent with the content. It's all about the purpose, right? Karine, how are you doing? Hey, y'all tuning in. Thank you very much, Karine. And I hope I can provide some more insights on things that you could do to get to accelerate that process of financial independence and early retirement. And I hope we can interact today. And J Bones, thank you again, my man. $2 super chat, super sticker. Always almost a clockwork every stream. Thank you very much, sir. We truly appreciate it. And focus on the price. Absolutely, Mr. Peter Investor M. That's it. And I want to bring as much as I can along with me, which is why I have the course, but I also make content so that I can be as more educational as possible, giving you some hits, be available on my Discord so that you can ask me questions. Share as much information that I can do so that you guys can be aware of where the trend is going, right? And tune in because there is more of that video coming on next week. I'm gearing up to create more content for next week as well. All right. Have a great day, guys. Thank you very much for showing J Bones. Thank you, truly appreciate it. Aaron B, salute to you. Salute to you. Be safe. I will. I will. All right. All right, guys. Thank you very much. And I'll share that super sticker here. Currently, the sponsor of this stream, J Bones. Thank you very much for your support. All right, guys. So, financially independent, retire early. I guess it was always a concept, right? But it started to be popular. I guess millennials start made it a little bit popular, and then now it's kind of a trend. It's kind of like a lifestyle that you put yourself around it, where you arrange your finance in a way that allows you to reach some level of independence based on your investments, based on your savings, based on your investments. That's what it allows you to do. And also, even the name says it. You've seen it on the title. You've seen it on thumbnail. You know what's up. It's fire, and financially independent, and then there is retire early. Now we're going to get into these two aspects of it because I think there is a great point that you may not understand or you may not see from the conventional aspect of fire, but it's going to make a lot of sense once I'm going to break it down. So, but we're gonna break it down towards the end. And let's start with fire. So if you guys don't know, we can there are plenty of articles online about this because again it's something that's starting to be popular with millennials. A lot of millennials are living paycheck to paycheck, so they're always looking for this way to to find a way to how do you say that, to find a way to get out of paycheck to paycheck. And on a lot of ways the fire mindset can help them achieve that, right? Because as soon as you have that click, you decide to change, address your mind, then okay, you're going to find solutions. And as you're doing your Google search, you may very well be finding some articles like this about the fire and how to achieve financial independence. And for many people, that is the gateway to starting and be disciplined about their finance. So there's a lot of financial fire community, even in the Black community. It's starting to grow as well. So it's a great community. There is people sharing knowledge for free. So yes, you can also go on Facebook and learn more. And me, I take part of that, but I have some disagreement in how they achieve it but it's just because me, I have to make my own twist to it. But I promise you guys, you will understand exactly what I mean. And the reason why I'm providing two different perspectives is so that you could choose what's better for you. At the end of the day, that's exactly what I love to teach. It's not necessarily one way or the other way, but how do you come up with a strategy that is best suited for you, for your own person, for your own goals, for your own age, for your own portfolio, for your own vision? How do you achieve that? How do you transition and design a customized plan to help you get there the faster possible, right? That's what I love to do. All right, guys. So let's go into this article and break it down. So, how to achieve fire financial independence, retire early. So, first, let's break it down what it means. Well, we don't need to we don't care much about who's the founder or how to be rich and read the books. We just care about the semantics, right? So financial independence retire early is a commitment to a program, right? So there's many different programs out there. You can have like the Dave Ramsey program, for example, to get out of debt, right? Shout out to Lash's journey. She was on a panel and described that's exactly what helped her broke away from the lifestyle that she had prior to that. Right now, she has over $1 million portfolio, so you can see how it can transform you. Right, so if you follow a plan, it doesn't matter which plan you decide to follow, as long as you follow one to the right direction, all roads leads to Rome. So it is a commitment to a program of investing. And wait, I know some of you guys are in your cell phone. Shout out to you guys if you're on your cell phone. But let me make it easy for you to read, as easy as I can. Let me zoom that a little bit. Yeah, that's good enough, right? All right. So it's a commitment to a program of investing and extreme savings that allows proponent to retire earlier than retirement plans and traditional project would facilitate. And yeah, so let's break it down, right? Because I love to go down to the foundation, to the words, to break it down so that you could get the full concepts. There is no need to read the entire article. You could just learn everything you can just from here. Now, before you even read any further, first, the word commitment, right? So if you're going to follow this, for it to work, you have to stay committed. So you better understand from the beginning what you're getting on, because hey, you might decide to, change the game later and it's going to seriously affect the results, right? But anything you're doing in life, whether it's a gym, right, to achieve your goals, you want to lose 30 pounds to this year, you have to be committed to that. If you want to be a successful YouTuber, you have to be successful on your YouTube. And salute, Friendsgiving. Thank you for coming here. Honestly, I really appreciate you being here today because, as I mentioned earlier, I didn't. I was planning of canceling it, but to be honest with you guys, it's you that are motivating me to jump on board and creating this stream. So I really appreciate seeing guys here today. And but yes, guys, commitment. Anything you're doing in life, if you want to be a great YouTuber, you have to be committed. You have to be committed to your purpose, committed to the game, committed to produce content. If you want to lose weight, you have to be committed to that. If you want to graduate as a doctor, you have to be committed. And it's the same thing to build your financial independence. Now, it is much easier for someone to be committed to the gym. It is much easier for someone to be committed to school. But when it comes to their own financial independence, so many people don't want to be committed. And that right there, to me, guys, it's not an issue with the plan itself. It's an issue with the people out there. And that's why there is 10% of people in any population that's going to hold 90% of the wealth. It's like in any country you go to, that's what goes on. It's because of commitment. People are not really committed to learn on how to get to the point. Now, to be fair, if we're talking about other countries from the Western world, there is many factors that is not just commitment, right? To be fair, we have to say it. But in a Western world like Canada, like United States, like London, for example, there's so many things that can happen if you stay committed. And that part alone is the first step that many people do not take. So if there is anything you can take out of what I'm saying from this stream, is be committed to your goal. And that's why I make streams. Let me look at you in the eyes as I said this, guys. Earlier this week, I made a stream about the urgency of being financially independent. Why? Because of AI. At some point, it's going to force us to take some action. And this action is going to be whether we're being ruled by either a company or government, right? Because there will be no jobs. There is a lot of jobs that could be replaced with artificial intelligence. I know this may sound like doom and gloom, and most people do not want to hear it, but I have to say it. Someone has to. I, as an engineer, is designing the future. The future company that's going to be in the future, it's being built today. And as an engineer, I'm very aware of the technology. That is my trade, right? So the things like this doesn't happen in just 1 year. It happens in decades. It happened in like 5 4 years, and it starts today. And I'm in the city of Montreal, a mecca when it comes to artificial intelligence worldwide. I'm telling you guys what is being prepared for the future. And you've seen these articles, you've seen Forbes mentioning, I made many streams about it, and I'm going to continue to make more about it. Is the threat of AI coming for your job is real, right? And just to be safe, I could be wrong, but just to be safe, it's better if you are committed to a plan so that you can be financially independent, so that you can be retiring early, just in case that AI comes over for your job. At that moment, your portfolio is working for you. The AI is working on paying you, making you richer, as opposed to living of universal basic income, which may not be so desirable to you, or which may come with some conditions, right? You don't know what these conditions are, but if you look in history, with great power come great responsibility, but absolute power corrupt absolutely, right? And AI and government mixed together, especially with blockchain, that's going to give governments a lot, and not just governments, but companies like Facebook, companies like Tesla, is going to give them a lot of power, right? And absolute power has always corrupt absolutely. Even the big ones, even the most even the ones that has um the wisest man, right? The wisest man, actually, the wisest man know not to go with absolute power. He knows he needs to remove some power away, because he knows absolute power is tempting, and you may not even realize you're being abused in your power. That's the thing. You may think you're doing the right thing, but if you have absolute power, you don't even see who you're abusing. You don't even see how you do it. So when it comes to governments, they might think they're doing the right thing, but it's going to have some effects. And absolute power comes with corrupt absolutely. And what is coming, guys, with AI is going to give someone or government or a company or a corporation or a group of corporation a lot of power. All right. You've already seen what's happening with the FANGs companies, right? You've already seen what happened with the FANGs. They even have the power, the absolute power, to censor um, political people that they don't agree with, right? Political movements that they don't agree with. Guys, I mentioned earlier this stream, like crowdfunding with the truckers of Canada fighting for freedom and mandates not being imposed on them and their family. Guess what? The crowdfunding, they decided not to pay the money. I think a large portion of it, and now Facebook is even censoring and not promoting, or at least not allowing some content there. So in the guise of it's being not it's not adapting to their community guideline, which can change at any time. But so that's where the life is going. I mean, Facebook right now has announced that they have dropped their cryptocurrency projects, but that's the second time they tried. It was the Libra, it was the DM. Who knows what's going to be happening in the future? But what I would like you to know, guys, if you have something of value that you committed to load up on, you committed to buy, you committed to use that as your way to be financially independent, then at least when that time comes, you can go to a different place that allows you more freedom. You can have more options, right? That's what I'm saying. And if you start now, You have a chance, you have a fighting chance to achieve this goal early. All right. So with that said, before we go any further, actually, let me just finish this point very quick. Actually, yeah, let's go on the chat. Let's go on the chat, guys. I'm happy to see you guys here today. So, them eyes, Friendsgiving, them eyes. How you doing? Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Aaron, for being here. Yes, AJ Bones, you guys are talking. Keep them likes up. Absolutely. Thank you for keeping them honest, sir. As you come in, please hit the like up. It really helps with the algorithm, and more people needs to hear this type of information because I see it, guys. I see it, and there is a lack of urgency in how much people want to, um, how they're approaching their portfolio. Some of them, maybe next year, maybe I might try to it. Like I like my lifestyle right now. Maybe I can put 25, $30. Like really, like you can. It's better, it's a start, but I mean, equip yourself with the information, and maybe that could change your action, right? So that's keep the likes up. We need more people to see it, and yes, please hit the like button. It really helps with the algorithm, and more people can see it that way. Salute Getty Radio. How are you doing? This stream is going to be fire. No pun intended. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. That was a good one. That was a good one. Yes, yes. It will. Let's make it fire, guys. Let's make it a fire content right here. All right, guys. Let's go back on this. Um, Now we talk about the word commitment, right? As we're breaking down, what is FIRE? So FIRE is a program, an investing program, just like you can have a dieting plan, just like you can have a dieting program or a program to lose weight, for example, right? So you got that you have is a commitment, right? You commit to it, and extreme savings. Now, what? Let me know in the guys. Let me know in the chat. What does that means to you? Like, does that is something that feels good? Is that something like when you hear that you're like, that you're willing to do? Let me know in the chat. How do you feel about the word extreme savings? Oh man, so that's that one thing. That is one thing that got my attention, and we're going to go back on that word extreme saving because it matters, right? It matters. I believe it matters strongly in the success rate of achieving FIRE, meaning achieving financial independence or early retirement. Extreme saving can play a factor in a positive way. It could also play a factor in a negative way, and I'm going to address that later tonight. So again, let me know in the chat what you guys feel about extreme savings. Have you done extreme savings in the past? Is that something you're currently doing? Is that something you like doing, or did you try it? And I want to know, if you try it and you stop, what was the reason, right? Uh, Shout out to your R&B. Extreme eating nothing but ramen noodle, man. Oh man, I can relate with what you're saying, my man, because that was me. It wasn't actually, it was ramen noodle, and also bread, man. I would buy bread and peanut butter. That's it, man. That's it very much. Peter Investor, and thank you for your support, sir. Let me put the big stream and salute you. Thank you for your support, being a member and super chatting continuously. Shout out to you. Mad respect for that, man. Thank you very much. Um, Yes, man. So, Peter Investor, thank you for your contribution again. Good to see you. Absolutely, man. You guys have been super chatting, and thank you very much. But man, I like this comment, man. I like this one. Shout out to you, Aaron. That was clever. But man, it's true, man. It's true. It's like if you want to go extreme, guys. If you want to go extreme, it's ramen noodle, right? You're going to eat ramen noodle, and guess what happens when you do that, guys? Because there is different type of health. My bad. There is different type of wealth. Okay. And it's not just financial wealth. You could have all the money in the world, but if you do not have the health, right, then you can't even spend your early retirement. You can't even enjoy your independence financially, right? Your financial independence. So there's social wealth, right? And I feel wealthy tonight when I see people like that in the chat. And Peter Investor M, J Bones, and everyone on the chat supporting me. Thank you very much, Friendsgiving, and everyone. I mean, I'm sure some of you You know what's up. So seeing you guys in the chat are very good. I'm very happy to see guys. And to me, this is a source of wealth, because if it wasn't for what you guys are doing in the chat, honestly, today I would not have the motivation to go up there and do this stream. So yes, to me, it is a source of wealth, because that connection that I'm building with you on the chat, and with comments like this, or with the fire, no pun intended, yeah, it's fun. It's giving me energy in a way. It's providing me, it's giving me the strength to go up there and make a content for you guys, that which in turn will convert to more financially, like income, because I'm monetized, and also which in turn will make myself, like, which make the channel grow, and more people would grow, right? So that in itself can create a level of abundance. So social wealth, right? Healthy, being healthy, being financially wealth as well. And yes, there is many different types of wealth. Now when it comes to extreme saving, guys, when it comes to extreme savings, we have to be careful on how we achieve that. Because sometimes, going back to Mr. R&B, great comment right here, sometimes you might go too aggressive on your savings, which will damage your health. And I can relate that with that very well, because I am an aggressive guy. And shout out to you, Mr. R&B, for your super sticker. Thank you very much. Much respect for you. 0.89 euros. Thank you very much for your super sticker. I believe that must be that could be the very first time I've seen you super chat in, like, in any platform. So that's huge respect, man. Thank you for this honor, and very thank you for this comment too, man, because it's gonna allow me to bring home what I'm trying to explain you guys, and what I'm going to explain consistently in this stream. Let me actually save that comment later, and I'm happy you have it here, because I'm building this thing where all the super chatters and are, I'm going to create something, so I'm happy you're here as well. Well, guys, going back to this comment right here. When you go too aggressive on your saving to achieve your goals, to achieve that freedom, you could damage your health. And that happens to me. I almost died from doing that. Now, surprisingly, when I got my first job, I was saving aggressively. But it wasn't for the purpose of financially independent or retiring early. It was the purpose for buying a brand new car. All right. Again, I told you guys, you know my habit by now. I love cars. I love cars. And I was saving aggressively to do it, to the point where I actually moved into a new city, Toronto, where I got my job, but I didn't know how to cook, right? I actually had only 2 weeks to make a decision to move from Montreal to Toronto, within 2 weeks to start my job. So basically, within 2 weeks, I had to find a place. I had to, like, yeah, like, fix my car so they could even travel to Toronto. And yeah, I did all that. And so at the end of 2 weeks, I was in a new apartment. It was furnished, and then I could go to work. And yeah, but there was a problem, guys. There was a problem. You know, I didn't know how to cook. I didn't know how to cook. And so what I would do is I would go to the groceries and see the food that were already, that were already cooked, that I could buy, put the microwave, done, right? But then they were kind of expensive. If I do groceries and buy the food, it's kind of like a lot of money. And I'm like, I have my goals, right? I'm gonna what's that word again? I'm gonna save a extreme. I'm gonna do an extreme savings. So I would go like Costco, man. I would buy the cheapest thing, and like my groceries would be less than $50. When it comes to, like, if I had to count it every week, it would come less than $50. And then, man, I was buying noodles, man. I was buying those noodles that you just put, and you put like, I think you put on a microwave, and then yeah, it's warm the water, and then you put like those hard pasta on the water, and then you put some salty things in it, and then rub it in and just eat that. I would eat that 3 times a day, lots of water. I'm good, right? Did that for week 1. okay, I'm okay. I'm okay. I mean, I'm really craving some normal food, but I'm okay. But then on week two, I started to have like my head was spinning a little bit, right? It was a little bit hard for me to focus. And I was telling my mom that. I was telling her, hey man, like I started this job. This job is great, but I'm starting to have like these headaches, and not headache, but my head is spinning. I don't know why. And then she's like, "Yo, how are you doing for food? Like, what are you eating? What's your diet?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I buy those ramen noodles at the groceries or at the convenience store." And she's like, "What do you mean you're buying that? That's all you've been eating?" I'm like, "Yeah, your boy doesn't know how to cook, and I don't want to buy like the food." And guys, she's like, this is madness. This is madness. She's like, this is unhealthy. You're going to die from this. So I got to do something. So she actually got a ticket, flew over, went to my apartment, stayed like a week there to teach me how to cook. Every day at work, I would come home and she would teach me how to cook rice, how to cook meat, and how to cook some Asian food, sauce pois. If you guys know, you know. And throughout that week, she also asked me to do this blood pressure test. And man, when I was doing the blood pressure test, like there was a scale from like zero to high, and then I passed the scale. The scale was so much. I actually like choo, and people were like, "Oh my god, this is madness! This is like we've never seen this at the far. It was the pharmacy, yeah, at the pharmacy that I was in. So people were like, it was a shoppers drug mart. The my sodium level was so high, it was apparently creating some high pressure situation, and the scale I was way above what the extreme was on the scale. And people were like, okay man, this is something you have to take care of it. Like they prescribed me something at the pharmacy the same day, like man, take this seriously. And over the course of a week, as I was eating normal, she gave me lots of green, I drank a lot of water, and then yeah, apparently it was good. But if my mom didn't come to bring some sense to me, guys, I would have still be focusing on those extreme saving scenarios and cut corners on my health to achieve my goals, and that could have seriously damaged my health on a long term. Whereas I wouldn't even be able to enjoy fire my early retirement or financial independence, let alone achieving it. All right, let alone achieving it. So, lesson learned, guys. Extreme savings can be bad. Shout out to R&B for this comment. Extreme, nothing but ramen noodle, but be careful, guys. Be careful on how you achieve it, and don't sacrifice your long-term health for something that you're going to achieve, which in the short term may not be there. All right. So it's going to take a lot of commitment, right? And in some cases, it might take you a couple years commitment, right? It's right there in the definition of what is fire. And it might take you a lot of years as well. So make sure you hit the like button, guys. Please hit the like as you come in. Let me know how you guys feel in the chat. What are you getting? Have you gone in a similar scenarios where you try to cut some corners and to save some money? Let me know in the chat what you guys think, and let's go from there. Let's see. Sometimes you will have to move back at your parents' house to save. I actually support that. I know, Western culture. Like I know my girlfriend was telling me that back in the days. Oh, if you live with your house with your parents after 18s, like you're a bum, right? Me, honestly, man. I mean, some parents don't necessarily want to, but as much as your parents is willing to allow you to stay home, try to leverage that as much as possible. But don't abuse it, man. Try to contribute in any way you can, and as you're saving in your expenses, make sure you load up on your saving account, and so that when you do get out of the house, your portfolio is big enough so that maybe you can buy a multiplex, right, and a triplex, a unit with 3 doors. For example, you live in one, you're renting the first two or the other two ones. This is a great way to start. So if you are living with your parents, you've been working with 3-4 years, you could actually achieve this. You could actually achieve this. So it's not that hard to do. So yes, sometimes you do have to also bring back to your parents, because hey, you may try something on your own, it doesn't work, and then you know what, you need a place to crash, you need a place to restructure your life, to limit your expenses, so that you can invest that smarter, more wiser, and get to your goals faster. So if your parent, if you're lucky enough, if you're lucky enough to still have your parents around, then please consider this solution. Do not let ego get in the way. Do not let ego get in the way. And if your parents are not really into it, try to sell them on the idea. Try to sell them the big picture, the generational wealth, right? Legacy. Try to sell them of that. Try to sell them that we're stronger together as we are apart. But some parents will still not go through it. And at that point, you may have to find a roommate, someone who sees the same life the same way you do. But whatever you can, provide some value, get some income out there, and invest that money. Save it. If you don't even know what to invest in, just save it. But if you know what to invest in, at least invest in something, so that when you are ready to live, you live to you're ready to make your first investment. All right. And everyone I know who started their life that way, by the time they're 30, they had a good amount of wealth on their name. Right. All right, Karine. So shout out to my moms. Thank you very much. I'll make sure to transmit those message. Yeah, man. Those ramens. Game over. Salute. How are you doing, sir? Thank you for being here. Um, well, again, the Dusty Talk. I haven't seen 17 or 18 walk out of their house with a millionaire. Uh, Again, with the Dusty Talk, I haven't seen what 17 or 18 walk out the parents. I mean, I don't know if you meant like you haven't seen people walk out of their house to become millionaires. It's possible. Some people are very driven, and they can achieve that, right? They can achieve that, but the likely on a balance of probability, this is a small percentage of people. It takes a huge amount of mental strength to achieve something like that. So yeah, sometimes for the most part, most people, it's easier if you can at least leverage what your parents were able to build. And if they're okay with that, you can build on top of that. But what is not okay is staying at your parents' house after 18, and then you're doing all things and purpose, but you're not focusing on your big picture, you're not focusing on your finance, you're wasting money, you're not even going to school. That is not good, right? You want to make the best out of this. If you're doing school and you work on the summer, right? If you're working in the summer, save that money, invest that money, right? Don't be like me and buy cars and have three cars on the third year of university. All right. Shout out to Peter Investor M. Dress modestly. Steve Jobs wear the same jeans, same color, same sweater, absolutely. And yeah, he's billionaires, right? Many billionaires from Silicon Valley adopt this mentality. Me, honestly, your boy might have some modest clothing, some clothing that is not so modest, right? Hey, I gotta make a stream one day about new money versus old money mentality. And I have so much respect for old money, but man, before I get to that level, I gotta enjoy the new money, man. Everything in steps. So I know what you mean. This is a very wise decision, but this is very like old money mentality, like you know what I'm saying. It's for the most part a lot of people in my community for sure. We need to at least pass the phase of the new money, because so many people don't get there, right? And the new money could encourage other people to get there too. So we need I'll try to find a balance as I get older. I'll promise you that, Mr. Peter Investor. But man, I'm waiting, my man. I'm waiting. But thank you for that comment. It was an interesting comment. You never come. Oh, all right, no worries, man. To be poor is a crime. To be poor is a crime, but I can't do the ramen noodle. Crime. Ooh, it's a kind of a strong word. Um, um, is it a crime? I don't know. Look, I just say if you are in a Western world, there are things you can do to improve your situation, right? But I can't do the ramen noodle. I would rather drink porridge. Um, Great point. And that's why I want to bring this stream together, and that is my inconvenience, the thing that I don't like about the fire plans, right? We're going to dive deeper into it later, but great comment right here. Let me go very quick. I think we're good. All right. So also very quickly, that allows proponents to retire early than retirement plans and traditional budget with facilitate. Now, traditional budgets and retirement plans from your company, it's actually designed, especially retirement plans from your company, it's actually designed not to give profits until you're like, 30, 40 years in a job, right? It's not necessarily designed to give you retirement in the next 5 years, right? Why would a company that is investing your 401k, your TFSA or RSSP, why would they want to help you have your portfolio multiply fast enough so that you can retire in 5 years? Why would they? If they did that, then you would retire in 5 years and then it wouldn't work for them. Right? Doesn't that make sense? Shout out to Jim Story. Let me see. Your path to fire did have to cut off family you haven't relied on you. If so, what advice do you have to? Hmm. Great point. Hey, let me answer that. But first, hi, Cheryl. Man, you gotta let me know one day if I butcher your name and help me practice with your name. I'll call it Cheryl. Cheryl. Yes, Cheryl. Hi, Cheryl. How are you doing? Thank you for being here. Fire. This is a great content for you because it's steps that we could take to achieve financial independence. We're going to read how fire is suggesting to achieve fire independence in 5 years. We heard words like extreme savings. We heard word like commitment, and how it could allow you to retire earlier than the traditional retirement plan or traditional budget. Right now, I want to address this question because that's a very important question. James Tony, on your path to fire, did you have to cut off family who are heavily reliant on you? No, I was lucky enough not to have family who heavily retire on me. However, in this situation, I'm not speaking for everyone else. I'm speaking with me, what I am doing or what I would have done, and what I made sure that my family knew about me, because I'm blunt. I told them, look, thank you for taking care of me until you're 18, until I'm 18, right? I want to stay home as much as I can. I want, that sweet mama's cooking as much as I can. I don't want to burn no bridges. But what I will not allow is I would not allow you guys to stunt my growth so that I can take care of you. I would not allow that. I was clear. You know what? I didn't even have to say that to my mom. I did not even have to say that to my dad. I was lucky. My dad is such an ego driven guy. He refused to even think that his kid is going to take care of him. Like he refused. Like this is like beyond of his like he cannot conceive that, right? My mom knows that very well. But to be honest with you, my mom helped me so much, and sometimes been the only supporter. Even my own wife sometimes, like I call her my greatest ally, my greatest hater. My own wife sometimes, and sometimes words matters, especially from people you care about, and sometimes her words can hurt me in a way that stops my growth in a way, or stops me from doing something that I want to do, push me to the limit. And my mom is that only voice that I have in my family where things really go down. I can rely on her to make some decisions, whether she thinks it's the wise decision or not. She believes in me. She's a dreamer just like me. So I'm lucky that way, that I don't have to tell that to my mom, and that because they told me they don't want to be in that situation. However, I have many families, other people that I know are like that. I've seen them done that to other cousins, other people in my family. I know how they are, and I made sure to tell them, look, I like you as a family, but hey, when it comes to money, money is money, man. You had your chance, you had your time. You had the education too. I'm not going to allow my reality. Like right now, it's my time. You were 18 years old. You were 35 years old. Now I'm 35 years old. I wasn't in your balls when you were in 35 years old. I mean, if you're talking to my dad, I guess you can say I was in his balls. But the point is, I wasn't an anchor locking on his feet, stopping him from running. So I made it clear. I made it clear very young. As soon as I noticed the trend in my family, because the black tax is real, James Tony, the black tax is real. Whether you are ADOS, whether you are FBA, whether you are Asian, whether you are African, right? The black tax is real. So I made sure to tell other people in my family, look, I see where you're coming. But to be fair with you, man, some people in my family, there is first my mom, there is another one in my auntie. These people, I owe them, and it's not because they told me I owe them, but because of what they have done in my life, I have the moral duty to, when I get to a certain level, to help them. It doesn't mean that I'm going to really sacrifice everything I made to help them, right? Within reasons. And they are the same way with me, and I respect that. There are certain people in my family that I owe them this much, because when I was really down, they financially helped me, like supporting me in any way possible. They did all that for me. So I have the moral obligation to at least pay that debt. That's something I say on me. But it doesn't mean it has to go this far. It doesn't mean that because of they're heavily reliant on me, I have to sacrifice my future to take care of them. It doesn't mean that. Again, within reasons. There are some people I am much more considerate versus others. Much more. But still, they had their time, now it's mine. Right? That's the way I see it. My dad told me very clearly, man. I was 8 years old. He told me, you see that poor guy right here? I would rather give him all the money that I have to him versus giving it to you. The minute I was 8 years old, the minute he said that, I'm like, you know what, daddy, thank you. I'm gonna work my ass off so that I never need your money. Hey, but he knows, and he never come to me and made it seem like, hey, he needs my help. And guess what? He knows he knows, bro. He knows that, right? But doesn't mean that if something happens where I can help in any way, I will. But it's not going to be on a level where heavy reliant on me, and that stops me from growing. And if I have to cut them off, cut them off. If you have to cut them off, if they don't see a big vision, if they don't truly love you and see the best for you, as opposed to see what's in it for them, cut them off. At least that's what I would do. That's what I have done in the within reasons in my family, right? But to be fair, my family are my dad and my mom. I didn't even have to tell them that. Some people in my family, I was saying it clearly when I was young. I don't have this problem, but I can understand where you would ask a question like that. I don't know if you have this problem, but many people I know have this problem, and I see it all the time, where the black tax that your own family is putting on you is acting like a damn anchor. Like Leonardo DiCaprio and the Titanics, risking his balls, his life, dying on cold water, and that anchor pulling him down so that he can drown faster, so that your older family can stay alive. See that all the time. And if we're being honest with this, guys, if we are being honest with this, we have to understand the motive. What's in it for you? Is it because, like, Are they using your sentiment? Are they using your love for what's in it for them, versus are they actually truly loves you and they want to see the best for you? And the people and my family that I'm going to do whatever I can to help, they have proven me that they want to see my future better, and they are willing to sacrifice their own future to help me. I've seen that they're proving it to me, and on that same karma, if that situation comes in, I will do the same for them. But not at the point where it's gonna stunt my growth, to the point where it's going to drown me and never achieve fire. Understand? I hope that answers the question, sir. And yeah, great question, man. It's something that I see all the time in our community. Great question. How doing, Cheryl? Hello, it's sure roll. Sure. I got that. Sure roll. But say it fast and yes, love. This trying to retire 30 by 35. Oh, nice. So okay, nice. I don't know how old you are right now, but let's get it. Let's get it. We're going to get some advice here from Fire, and I'll try to give you some tweaks on what I think is the most efficient way. You listen to many different other platforms out there. I'm not saying my way is the way. I'm saying my way works for me. You guys can learn from it, right? But hey, great goal. Retire by 35. Awesome. That's what I want to hear. Let's get in it. Game over. What's up? Facts. I just got a call and I have to come up with a 4K in cash out of nowhere. God damn, bro. Yeah, that happened to me maybe twice in my life. I was able to, like, you know what? The first time it happened to me, I was laid off. So I was, you know what? I would want to do it. I would want to do it. But man, I was laid off. I'm getting a wedding ready. I can't, I mean, I got a wedding, the wife. I was laid off. I already paid 3 months salary on this ring. I don't have the cash, man. You know what, JC? Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's how you play it out, man. That's how you play it out. I love you. I love you, man. You're my family. You're my family. But man, life. Life. I got my back broken. I pulled my muscle. 4K, man. And man, oh man, Mr. Before the Billion. When people can sense, Mr. Before the Billion, when people can sense a weakness in you that they can exploit, they will take advantage of it. Sometimes that weakness can be your strength. Sometimes what makes you a great person, being genuine, believe the best in people all the time, right? Can be also that same. It's a strength, it's also a weakness, because sometimes, because you believe the best in people, you may not realize the other intention that people may have for themselves. But if you factor all that, if you remove all that, and you're looking at the goal, you're looking at where that's leading, right? Did that person ask you if that 4K is going to stop you in any way? What if that 4K stop you from buying a house for your own child? Did that person even ask? Right? They don't ask how that's going to interfere with you. They just ask. Like, hey, do they even tell you when they're going to return that, and have they deliver on actually paying their debt? Right? The black tax is really, it's a serious problem, man. It's a serious problem. The black tax is one of the major factor that keeps our community, black people, poor, regardless of how you label it. Asian, Jamaican, Puerto Rican, even some Latinos have this problem, but they are a little bit more working as a unit. You know what I'm saying? But black tax, man, is keeping us poor, and there is this anyway, bro. Mention a lot about it. Which one take more? Mr. Peter Investor in with your question. Eh? Hey guys, hit the like button, guys, as you come in. Make sure you hit the like button. We're diving deep tonight. Interesting topic. Let's see, Mr. Peter Investor M. Which one take more? Take more. I guess take more out of you. Willpower. Oh, which one? Which one take more willpower to do? Save money, make more money, invest more. Well, hmm, it's not necessarily the investing part, a comparison to the other first two, but I guess you could say both save and make money will take more will because there is it takes a lot of will to make more money. A lot of will to make more money. A lot of drive. People that makes more money, they have drive. Takes a lot. If you do not like, you could accidentally make more money because you have sort of personality where you know what, maybe that's the answer. Because you could have, I know people who have the personality, they're not confronting, they don't have a lot of drive because they study the right thing at the right time, they end up landing a job that pay well. Or they make a lot of money. But if they wanted to make more than that, they don't have that personality, that willpower to get it. Whereas save money definitely take will. So you get definitely take will because it cuts down in a certain way your ability. So I would say save more. But I understand also that it's very close to make more because people that makes more, they have huge willpower to make it in the first place. But save more stops you from living a life, for example, that is comfort. If you're starting from the beginning, then save more takes much more willpower than make more. Because you may living paycheck to paycheck, and then you're going to read an article like this that's going to tell you you need to save extreme savings, right? Shout out to Aaron B with his comment earlier, right? Ramen noodles. That's what it takes sometimes if you want to be that extreme, right? Shout out to Aaron B for this comment. Great comment right there. Great comment. So that takes a lot of will to taste that for a week, 3 times a day. When you smell that pizzas on the groceries and you have the will to deny it, to not go for it, and you have the money to buy it, it takes a lot of will so that you stay consistent and committed to your goals, right? Remember that word here? Commitment. So, yes, great question, Mr. Peter Investor M. Let me see. Let me see. Facts. Sorry, I missed what was facts. 27. Wow, cool. Oh, man, happy to hear that. Man, if you 20, if I what I know now, if I knew it when I was 27, 28 years old, I would have been retired at the age of 30 damn 3, which is pissing me off, guys. Guys, I can't even go through that. Every day I'm thinking about it, man, and I'm like, God damn. If I knew what I know now, I have to like allow myself to like, you didn't know, it's okay. Learn, and then maybe preach it so that people can learn, so that they don't have to go to those ramen noodles and risk their health to go to this goal. All right, you'll be on pace. I believe in you, Ken. I believe in you. Listen to more, not just mine podcast. Listen to any financial content you can do, and I would definitely encourage you at some point invest in your financial freedom. I'm not sure if you're a trucker or if you're in the trucking business, but if you are in the trucking business, I listen my word. This you gotta look at me in the eyes as I lay it down on you guys. For anyone in the trucking business, anyone in the trucking business, I beg you, please do your research on artificial intelligence, autonomous driving, 5G, right? Please. One of the first things that's gonna hit autonomous car once those governments allow it, once they see the benefit for companies, which in turn can take more profit from them, once all that is set up, companies will buy truckloads of autonomous trucks. That trucks will be driving 24/7, low cost. Now Tesla is running on like electric trucks. You don't even have to spend gas. And based on the math, it's costing a lot less in electricity than it will do in gas. So every number for a business will just make it so appealing for them to buy those trucks. You have Volvo working on a beautiful technology right now to do it. But trust me when I say this, they have the pale in comparison with what Tesla is doing. I've been observing Teslas for this deeply since 2014, but since 2008, when I was in not elementary, sorry, university. Since 2008, I've been observing Tesla. But when it comes to what their plans on the AI projects, I've been listening and watching what they're doing since 2014, and I'm telling you, the advantage, the data, the practice, the training they have done with their AI model is world apart the competitions. And they also have the manufacturing experience, resources to produce those trucks. You have everything they need to tackle transport, and sooner or later, you're going to see more and more and more. And when that curve is going to flip, where they're going to be able to meet the demand, it's a wrap. It's going to be one of the first industries that robotics or artificial intelligence and autonomous car, the whole technology that's facilitating this to happen, is going to be one of the first industries, the trucking industry, that will be severely affected. Think of Tesla tech taxi drivers versus Uber drivers on steroids, right? So if I'm urgent to achieve some financially independence, if you are in a trucking business, you need to be at least twice as more urgent than I am. That is my advice to people that are in the transport, not just trucking, any transport industry. That is my sincere advice. And please, please consider my words. Please. That is why I'm making these streams, guys. Please. I want to guide you as much as I can, but I can only show you the door. You have to open it and walk you through it. So I'm happy to hear that you're on pace to retire at 35 years old. I'm not sure if you are in the trucking business, but if you are, that pace, you don't need to accelerate that pace, but hey, make it like priority number one. Okay? Priority number one. That's all I got to say about that. But I was always willing to learn more. Love the information you provide. All about solution. Absolutely. Thank you very much. Hey, hello. Question for Mr. Man, life hits hard, but we gotta roll with the punches. Absolutely, man. Life do it us. And yes, and sometimes, man, sometimes you gotta make tough decisions. Sometimes you gotta make tough decisions that you don't like. But hey, they have to be done. Right? It's about drive, it's about power. Okay, sorry. I think I missed the concept of that. But great, thank you for your comment. I wish I've knew everything I know now back then. But I just pass it onto my niece and my nephew so they can do better than me. Absolutely, man. At the end of the day, that's the purpose of learning and growing. You get to teach the other generations. And yeah, man, I go through that all the time, man. But I do that. I do that for my brother. I do that for my brother, and he's actually way ahead than I am right now. And he's, I guess, fire plans or way ahead. But think, I actually take comfort in that because at least he was able to avoid a lot of mistakes that I've done. Right. Yes, I plan on adding those truck on to my. I plan on adding those trucks to my fleet. That's the goal for me. When that comes up, when that comes, I'm up on that. Cheryl, Cheryl, thank you. That is the whole point of the videos that I create on Fire on artificial intelligence. Own the technology that is coming to replace you or get replaced and be done. If with this mindset, I'm sure you will. That's the mindset I want you to have. Because even if you don't know the way, you have the mindset, the solution will come at some point. Boom. If you're focusing on, okay, let's say these trucks will be $2,000 for trucks. All right. So maybe I can save that money right now. Maybe I can save a quarter of it and invest it that, and that could multiply. But you can do something, work your way up, right? But that right there is the perfect mindset to have, especially if you are in this industry. You know the transport industry, you know the routes, you know the challenges, you know all that. You can invest in something that you know. This right here is a great way, and not try to go beyond that too, right? How can you go both the truck and the company that makes the truck? How can you do can you do that? How can you make a dividend on the company that owns the truck and make a profit from the route that this truck is making? While you sleep, you're making money in multiple ways, increasing your streams of income. Absolutely. Cheryl, thank you very much for this. Thank you very much for this. And yes, that's an awesome comment. Awesome comment. It takes drive. It takes drive and the willpower to make money. Okay. So you're going about the question, Mister Peter Investor app. Yes, it does take drives and willpower to make money. We agree on that. What's to make more money? We agree on that. Well, what's more willpower? Does it take more willpower to save, or does it take more willpower to make more money? If your agreement is um, it takes more willpower to make more money, it's not like I can disagree. Like I see where you're coming from, but from my experience, man, from my experience, saving money was harder, man. It took a lot because it's not even the first 3 months that's gonna hurt you. When you go with the extreme saving, guys, it's not the first 3 months that drives you nuts. It's month 8, month 9, month 10, a year. Then you're like, God damn, I've been doing that for a year. Do I really want to? I mean, I want to at least have fun. I want to buy that car, man. I want to, maybe travel a little bit here and there, take a break. And we're going to talk about that. I have a solution for you guys. I have a solution for you guys. Again, this is my opinion. Doesn't mean it's the right way, but it's a way. All right. Now let's go through something on the document. I want it to go very well. We're doing on 1 hour. Let's see how we're doing. I want to talk about the 4% rule when it comes to fire. So, what does 4% rule basically summarize to, instead of reading all that? It basically means, you build up your portfolio to a point where it's so big. If you were taking 4% every year to pay off your dues, your bills, you can leave off of your portfolio. Now, to be honest with you guys, it's not like I don't like this. I like it. It's something. If you have the money, great. But I mean, there might be a better way of doing it, right? That's why we're here to talk about. But hey, also known as the safe withdrawal rate. The 4% rule refers to the amount you should comfortably withdraw from your savings to cover your expenses every year after retirement without touching the principal. Determining your safe withdrawal rate is the first step towards learning how to achieve financial independence. So, how do you determine how much money you should save? Right? Again, that's a great point. If you know the number your financial independence number, right? Then you know how much you should save, right, to achieve that number. But that's assuming you're going to actually taking that money to pay off your debt. And I remember, guys, this channel is not just about making money, but it's about keeping money and multiplying money, also for the purpose of, increasing your net worth, retire early, and build generational wealth. If you're having $2 million that you're able to save in 20 years, and you withdraw that 4% to pay your bills, right? 20 years, you had a baby on year one, 20 years from now, baby is gone. He's out. He's living his own life, right? So you're taking your 4% every year to pay your own bill, and you're assuming you live like 30, 40 years retirement. At some point, all that $2 million is gonna, it's gonna drop a little bit. It might be close to zero. Who knows? What if inflation happens? Right? What if inflation happens? Inflation what? What is a good number for inflation? 2% maybe? On a good day, on a good year? 2%? So you take out 4%, inflation happens. So you basically have 2% in your hands. Is that going to cover your bills? Do you have to take more than 4% to pay off everything? Maybe 6%. Maybe 6% this year and then 4% the next year. But isn't it that going to reduce your cash load? Right? These are questions, important questions you need to ask as you factor the fire rules. Again, I'm not here to bash the community. I'm just saying these are things to ask. And is there a better way that we can think about achieving the same goals? But if we're looking at like generational wealth, to me, generational wealth would be $2 million that stays $2 million every year until your retirement, and then your next generation inherit the entire $2 million plus any adjustment that needs to be made for inflation. That, if you're talking about just fire, then 4% is enough. For you covered. If you're talking about generational wealth, taking 4% away from that main profit may not be the best idea. It may not be the most efficient idea. And I'm not saying it's not the best. At the end of the day, if you could achieve financial independence, go ahead. But we got to look at the numbers. What is your FI number, financial independence number? Is it going to be based on extracting 4% per month or per year? Sorry, 4% per year to cover your yearly expenses, right? That's if you base your FIRE plan on that, then you're gonna have to stay committed to build up, let's say 2 million, let's say 3 million. And my question to you is, what if inflation rise from 2%, and just like we had in December, 7%? Then what? You plan on living for 30, 40 years. What will happen? We don't know. We don't know if the market will crash, survive, like inflation rising, falling, hyperinflation. We don't know anything. What we do know is we have 2 millions that we're expecting to live 30, 40 years on it. So is retracting 4%, regardless of the market does, is the best strategy to go with? These are the questions I want you guys to start thinking about. Because again, we're wealth engineers. Engineers design systems to make things more efficient. Right? I'm going to get on a comment. I just want to go through this very quick. Here's an ND chart. You guys see this? All right, guys. Struggle streaming already. Shout out to TLA. All right, guys. So let's see. What are you saying? What is the white guy saying? All right, guys. So let me see. Here's an ND chart to show you how much you'll need to save based on possible yearly expenses. Possible. Okay. So your financial independence goal, let's say these 2 million. All right. So your annual expenses could be, that's a good annual expense. That covers a lot. I mean, that covers vacation, that covers your bills. I mean, if let's say you and your wife was doing this, that's a good a good 1,600 yearly income in the household. It's good, 4% every year. could cover, you know, it's up there. But that's what they're saying. They're saying, hey, if your annual expenses are that much and your financial goal can be 2 million based on your expenses, right? I think, but I know we'll see. I'll tell you what I think about it. And then, of course, yeah, there is after tax income. Now, your tax income from from your investments will be um, will be a lot less than actually your income from your job. So they might consider that as capital gain. Now, if you do it capital gain, then it's like, I mean, in some, I don't know how it is in the States, but in here in Canada, it's 50%. So basically, they would consider your yearly income as 40,000 if you extracted 80,000 from your 2 million portfolio. It would say, hey, your yearly income is 40,000, and based on that, what is your tax rate for 40,000 yearly income, as opposed to the entire amount, which is 80,000. So now you only get on tax on 50% for tax for capital gain, right? Again, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. You consult with your tax consultant. It could be different on your states, on your country, but where I'm at right now, that's something that is that's how capital gain tax are being done, and these money like that on your portfolio would be considered as capital gain tax. All right. So again, that's basically what I wanted to mention very quickly from this article, is those example that, hey, your financial goals, what it needs to be if your annual expenses were this much, and how to still achieve retire. So if you're only spending 30,000 as your annual expenses, then you're able to save 75 750,000, then essentially you should be able to retire, because if you take 4% out of this money on a yearly basis, it could do it. Now, my question is, first, how long you going to live? If you retire early and on 750, man, that's going to drop. If you retire early, like 27 or like 35, and you end up living until you're 90, right? At some point, you're going to have to load up on that cash again. And if you have some years where inflation rises way more than 2%, you know, it's going to play some numbers in here, right? So we gotta really ask ourselves, what's the better way? What is the most efficient way we can do this? But again, whatever get you started, guys, do it. It's better if you do have the money, you have the option. You might decide to change your entire strategy once you get to 750. Perfect. Maybe you want to move to Dubai. Maybe you want to move to Thailand and reduce those expenses to like 10,000 a year. Perfect. Then you really have a lot more money to deal with, right? You could, if you have the money, you have the option. Hey, but if you have that money locked on a government or IRA account or something that you're not allowed to pull out until you're 65, then like TFSC, not allowed to remove it until you're 60. Oh, sorry, not TFSC. In Canada, it's RSSP. You're not allowed to remove it until you're 65. You get penalized and taxed heavily before. Like, you gotta think about taking your money out before you put the money in. Something I teach, guys. Think about pulling the money out before you pull the money in, and allow yourself options. Allow yourself options. So if you're gonna do fire, invest in things that allows you to take the money out, just in case you decide to change your strategy somewhere in the future. But as long as you're starting, it's great. All right. Let me see. Let me see. What's going on in the chat? It takes more time and investment in yourself to make more money. Absolutely. You know what? Again, it's not something I'm dead set on. As I said earlier, it's something that I can see. But if we're talking about willpower, like, someone can go to school, right? Your parents may tell you the entire time, go to school, get a job. You go to school, you get a job. You motivated. You have the willpower to do it. Versus, like, you always knew that was the plan. So when you get out of school, you're good. You make more money. and you have that training. You're like, you know what, let me take a course online and let me learn and do it. It's easy. You can stay in your home, eat popcorn and ice cream, learn a course online, a boot camp. 2 months later, you have the skills, you put that on a resume, you get more money. It's not easy, but you know what I mean? In terms of willpower, if we're measuring it from the willpower perspective, versus you have 100,000 in your portfolio and then you want to get to 1 million and then you want to save extreme. And if to you, the only way to save that is first maybe take a loan or maybe take some risk or and make some savings too. And then you're like, for me to get to my goal, I'm going to have to severely reduce my expenses, meaning I have the money, but I'm not going to live in a fancy place. I have the money, I'm not going to live in a fancy car. I have the money, and I'm not going to buy the fancy restaurant, nor Uber, nor like, right? Ramen noodles. Now that takes a lot of will, my man. And that's what I'm saying though. Like I know where you're coming from. And for me, like I lean more towards saving the money because I've done both. And for me, the will to save money was strong. Like I needed more mental toughness, man. And think about it. How many people go to school, invest time to go to school to learn to make more money, right? A large amount of the population go to school hoping to get a job to make more money. How many people are taking aggressive step to save money aggressively, right? Not many, which is why 10% of the people own 90% of the wealth. So that right there tells you it takes a lot more willpower to do it because if it was easy, a lot of people would have done it, right? So that's why I'm leaning towards. So I'm like, but I see where you're coming from. It does take a lot because engineering school for me was not easy. Engineering school, especially for me, I have a learning disability. I'm bipolar. I've always had struggle learning in school. Always. I'm a visual learner, and I don't do well when I just read or just listen to a teacher talking without a storytelling or visualizing what I can do, right? So I didn't never did well. So trust me when I say I understand a lot when it comes to investing time and investment and invest in yourself because throughout my entire life I always had to invest twice as more in time to get half of the results when it comes to the academic perspective, investing in myself. But when it came to saving and investing, man, I had to do all that, spending the time online, learning about a bunch of things, and then be super disciplined on my approach. You know what's worse? When you start investing and you find more and more opportunities, oh god damn, that's the worst, my man. Video investor, if you didn't even bring that up, well, let me bring that up for you, man. That's one thing I'm going through the last year and still going through right now. Every day I find great investments opportunity, and sometimes I have to stay disciplined with one so I can build up a large portfolio before I jump on the next. If I get too diversified, or I actually end up growing my portfolio fast enough, so I have to stay disciplined. And some investments are so appealing that it's seducing you, man. It's tempting you. But it's that discipline, it's that willpower that keeps me. Some people in my Discord, my exclusive Discord, they can tell you. They can tell you. We always have this conversation. And man, I always say, hey, stay focused, and preach it and repeat it. And I do that to reinforce my mental will because I know I'm getting tempted. Actually, was it you, Mr. Peter Investor M, that you were trying to convince me to stick with my own principle so that I don't go too far on something that was very appealing. That takes huge willpower, man. Huge willpower. So, whew, and again, right? Make money, save money because it's a form of saving money to reinvest it. It's just, man. Anyway, uh, that's my thought about it. That's my thought about it. But we can. I'm not even want to say we can agree to disagree because I agree with you too. Like It's it takes a lot of will. It takes a lot of, and I've been there. Trust me, I've been there. All right, guys. So, how to retire in 5 years according to Fire? In order to be financially free or financially independent in 5 years, you are going to need to ratchet your savings all the way up to what the heck? Sheesh! Look at that. You're going to ratchet your savings rate all the way up to 80%, 82% of your income. You know what that means, guys? That means if you make $1,000 in a month, you have to save at least $820 to put it in your investments. God dang. God dang. 82% of your income. God dang. Whoo! That means you made $1,000 this month. $820 is going going in your savings, meaning you have to leave your month in 100, you know, basically like 180, like what? Well, of course, most people don't make 1,000 a month. No, maybe 3,000 a month, maybe four, but 80% of anything is large. God damn. And we're talking about willpower, my man. Before the billion, what do you think of that? Imagine having the willpower to make 10,000 a month and you spend basically $8,200 in your saving and you only living on $2,000. Now, to be fair, living in $2,000 a month can be a little bit comfortable. Little bit, right? I know ways that I can do that and be very comfortable. I live with basically paying 1,000 a month, 1,200 basically. That was my living expenses as I was doing the fire, and we'll talk about what I did differently. But whoo, imagine we were making 4,000 a month, right? Imagine you were making 4,000 a month. I mean, am I wrong? What's the average salary of Americans? Let's say 50,000. Quebec, no, in Quebec, if you make 50,000, you're pretty much middle class, right? 50,000 in a year, assuming, well, hey, there is tax too, right? We're not even gonna go there. Assuming in hands after tax, you get $50,000. That means you're making $4,000. I mean, $4,100 in a month, right? Now, what's 80% of that? 80% of that meaning you put $3,300 basically in your savings, and you leave your entire, like, your monthly expenses and all that. You pay what? We're talking about $700 ish. Now that's something, because with $50,000 you technically have a middle class job, but you barely living as a poor man or woman if you're doing fire. $700, that's you to pay everything, your rent, your electricity, right? Your food. Whew. Now you're going to have to increase your income. You're going to need that willpower to increase your income. Let's say you increase it to 60. You're still going to have to live your life a lot. Now, how long does it take to get fired? But that's assuming you want to do it in 5 years. Now, most people, I mean, 82% is a bit aggressive, you know? So most people can't handle that. So let's look at 10 years, right? If you want to do 10 years to achieve fire, you're going to have to get more breathing room, right? And still become financially independent in 10 years from now. You're going to need to boost your saving rate to 65% or 66.5% of your income. Let's just say 65, because it sounds easier to say, right? 65% of your income. Whoo, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's not comfortable. Let's go back on our example, right? You make a $50,000 after tax, right? 4,000 and 166. What's 65% of that? Yeesh, you can. I mean, honestly, this is more doable. So you're going to put a little bit more than half, so 1,700 in your savings, and then you have the other half to leave it. Now, to be honest with you, this is exactly like what I've done. Now, here's I'm not my plan to retire is not 10 years though, and I didn't do exactly 66. That's not what I'm saying. But when it comes to the money that I had in hand, it came down to basically the same, about 2,000 a month that I would use to pay everything. I even try to reduce it 1,200, and then so I can have more to put in my savings. But man, yeah, make some sacrifice to get there. And now imagine you make a sacrifice and it's the time. Now, if you're gonna do that for 10 years, that means 10 years you're gonna have to take the bus. Or if you take a car, it's going to be a very cheap, crappy car, right? And then the day that this car breaks down, it's like, forget it. You're gonna have to go with the bus. It's the best way, because if you start buying cars again, then you cut on your budget and it's going to slow you down. This means, oh, actually, they actually made it here. This means 50,000 in your annual expenses will need to clock it under 16,000 a year so that you can sock away $33,000. A lot of people are actually just their rent alone is more than that. So that's what I'm saying. Yes, man, it will take a lot of willpower to make that decision to sacrifice your comfort. Yeah. Yeah, you actually went the same calculation I did. So yeah, and now of course housing cost will cut significantly into that money. Of course, probably more. But if you have an incredibly low cost or subsidizing housing, you may be able to make it work. Yeah, and also one of the things that could make it work is you can go to a different country that is a lot less expensive, especially with the US dollar. If you go with that around the world, man, you have a lot of purchasing power in your hands. A lot of purchasing power in your hands. So that way it could work. It allows you to save a lot of that money. But again, it all depends on, can you pull that money away from your investment? You got to invest in things that gives you some level of freedom so you can have more options. You have to think of putting that money out before you put it in. Now, I'm going to give some advice here. I'm going to give not advice, but what I have done to make this a little bit more efficient. Right. But before I do, let me go in the chat and see. Um, well, you can save still. That's why I missed the concept for that, but sorry I missed it. But depending if it's nominal or real inflation, the percentage increases. Absolutely, that's true. 3% of, oh yeah, 3% annually for inflation. Yeah, so that means it could increase also depending on what we're looking at. And man, like that 4% becomes a problem, right? There must be a building up to do FIRE, meaning you have all your expenses paid off or saved to six. Yes, yes, I agree with that. Now, here's my advice when it comes to be more efficient with FIRE. I like to approach FIRE as such. All right. I like to approach FIRE, and a FIRE for the concept of what our discussion here is not what men invented by hitting rocks and create fire to cook, right? Or to burn people. That's not what they did. That's not what I'm talking about. I mean, what I am talking about is financially independent retiring early. All right. To break it down, if you're new here, the concept is you have a financial goal depending on your expenses. You try to achieve that goal. What is your financially independent number? Some people, for most people, it will be 2 million at least. And then you're gonna remove 4% on that every year till you die, or until the money runs out and then you have to go back again. We asked the question about inflation. We asked the question about risking your own health to reduce your expenses so that you could achieve fire. Here's the way I approach it. I read that, I took a lot of the concepts, and then I incorporated that in what I call the wealth engineering principles, right? And the principles of wealth engineering is basically have a loop of information that feeds you accurate information so that you can always make accurate decisions on your investments, to always be efficient on where you apply your money. Okay, that's the most more likely on a resume, the principle. But a large part of that principle is continuously having a liquidity capital so that you can invest in, so that if you're like me, you get opportunities every day, that hey, you can at least invest in them, right? At least me at this point right now, my rate is every 2 weeks that I can invest in. But within those 2 weeks, I'm missing opportunities, and I don't want to use my savings, emergency savings, to do it. So instead, I have to like wait. But I'm working on the strategy right now, guys, so that I can have that funnel every day. I have at least certain amount I can reinvest in to grow that portfolio. Fine. Going back to fire. That's what we talked about earlier, right? Extreme expenses, depending on how early you want to achieve it. And I was talking about urgency to achieve it early. But it doesn't mean you're going to achieve it so much that you're going to reduce your expense or put 82% of your say income into a plan. If you can, by any means, do it. But man, oh man, that's a lot of, and most people cannot do that. So here's what I suggest. And I wasn't able to do it. Not 80%, 82%. No. Here's what I did. I made sure to make at least 50%. And on my budget, I made sure to have a budget for movies, because I love going to the movies. Love going to movies. I made sure to have a budget for gym, for my mental health, because for me, that is a great therapy for me for mental health and physical health. So I made sure to have a budget for that, gym, social life, movie theaters, some budget per month, just to here and there if I decide to go in a restaurant with friends. I do it, but not too much. Really like one restaurant if I go to in a month, that's it. And then I reduce my expenses as much as possible. Now, one thing I did not do is I also did not focus on paying my debt. And I'm going to have a debate under the Intentional Millionaire panel tomorrow, I believe, where I'm going to talk about that. Should you prioritize paying your debt? I didn't. I didn't prioritize paying my debt. Some of the debt that I had when I was starting this plan, I still have them. But if I reduce it as long as I can, paying the bare minimum, and then that money, I'm multiplying it on the market. I could pay it right now cash if I wanted to. I'm just not, because that money, if I pull it now, it's not going to multiply, and eventually I'll pay it, right? But not now. The time actually, I might pay a lot of it by the end of this year. I'm actually the end by the end of this year, I might be debt free, but we'll see. We'll see. So far, based on my plan right now, I did not prioritize paying debt. I reduced the amount of debt I had. Sorry, I reduced the amount of money I was paying the debt. Make sure I pay the bare minimum. That's it. Bare minimum that I have to pay it, I pay it. If the bill is 120.1 cents, I'm not going to pay 120.2 cents. I'm going to pay exactly what they ask. Everything else, it goes to my living expenses, my budget, and then the rest goes to my savings. All right. And when I said, guys, at least every no worries, no worries, man. You can join in on the panel, the TLM, the intentional millionaire. Join in. on the chat at least, and then you can contribute later if you want to. All right, so that's what I did, guys. I made sure though I was super disciplined to have at the bare minimum 50% of my monthly income to my savings. That's what I did. That allowed me to create a great starting portfolio. Now, what I was doing also is investing that money after I had my bare minimum of 3 month emergency fund. I was investing that money, and once I built it to 6 month, then I would put the emergency fund also in the market. So basically, I always had emergency fund in my bank, emergency fund in my market, and then everything I made after that, I put it in the market. I put it in the market. I put it in the market, and then yeah, right now I still invest. I still keep 3%, but the other 3%, I know it's for the emergency, but it's just better served there. And I give that game too is my 3% right now. I put it on cryptocurrencies that are stable coins that are backed by like Gemini or crypto.com or USDC. All right now it's USDC that I'm doing through crypto.com, and then you put that money, you stake it at 12% APY. Right, so I'm still making 12% APY that is paid almost like weekly, and then I put that money is working while it is being saved. If I need to unlock it, it happens the same day. I can access my money very quick. That's what I do. I always like to put money to work. I don't like money sleeping and not doing anything. Get me more wealth. That's your job, soldier. Every dollar is a damn soldier. I'm the general. Let's go conquer the world. Every dollar one at a time, right? The more dollar you have, the bigger your army. That's the way I see it. And I'm a conqueror. Go conquer the world. But at least 50%. That's what I did. What I also did when it comes to the concept of FIRE, financially independent, retire early, is I broke it down. When you break down financially independent, retire early, there is two aspects to it. There is the financial independency aspect of it, and then there is the retire early aspect of it. Because if you look at it from that perspective, then you don't need 82% to retire, right? And then after, you could focus on your financially independent. Either or. You could focus on one at the time, not two. And that factors something. And let me tell you how I do it. I don't focus on the 2 million, which is the big number that I'm going to extract 4%. And I don't even like that strategy because 4% is what we think is a good number now. But based on inflation, assuming we've already seen the trend. Government, like the Federal Reserve worldwide, are printing money, are printing currency. So eventually we're going to have inflation. This is just math. You print more money in the market, the prices of everything has to rise to consider the factor of all the money that are in the market, right? But what I am focusing on is not the big number that I don't really know if I can pull that money on enough. I focus on the monthly number. What is it, that number that I need per month to pay all my living expenses? And if I have that number and I achieve that number from my investments, therefore, I no longer need a job. I may not be financially independent per se, but I can retire early. So that's what I mean. I break it down. I focus on one at the time, and my priority right now is the retiring early. And then once I do, I'm going to put all my time to achieve that big financial independency, meaning my portfolio is so large that I may never need a job again. The market may crash, it may rise. I'm still good, right? I may have diversification and portfolio and business everywhere, and real estate, that regardless of what happened, I don't have to sell anything. I don't have to sell that 4% per year to achieve financial independency, right? I can set up my finance in a way that I have my personal finance, I have my business finance. I can take in money and invest it in any way and multiply money. Or if I lose money in my business, it doesn't affect the person, the entity of JC, right? But first, I focus on the retiring early part, and the retiring part can happen if you get not the big $2 million, because that number seems impressive. And the 10-year strategy to achieve 2 million in your portfolio could feel like, why go there? It's not too much work. But you can achieve maybe 2,000, maybe 3,000 a month. My goal is 5,000 a month. Actually, 5,000 a month would be great, because I would keep my living expenses around less than 2,000 a month, and would give me 3,000 a month that I can reinvest in the market, reinvest in other cryptocurrencies, maybe real estate, build that portfolio. Maybe let's say it's real estate, right? So I would do that, have that saving, maybe buy a multiplex, and then once I do, shout out to Lash's journey, I can do house hacking just like she did, the Burr method: buy, rehab, renovate, refinance, and then do it again. I could do it that way, or I could start a business if I want to. I could do real estate and a business, because hey, once you buy it, just stay there, right? So 1 month I could do that. I wait a couple months, I save up and I build and I buy a franchise, for example. We made streams on franchises. So that's what I do. You focus on one first. Once you achieve that, retire. Then starts looking at learning new skills if you need to, like go start a business on what you're passionate about, like increase your skill, do what you want to do instead of doing what you have to do at your job, right? And then build that financially independent portfolio. But if you do it that way, it will be a lot more fun. You could even do it faster, because now you're going to use money to make more money, because now you do have the money and you have the time to work on it. It's going to happen much faster than just having the money and sacrifice your living, your comfort to achieve it, and still having to work. So that's my approach in the tweak that I made in the fire concept, the fire principle. Again, you don't have to go with my route. You can go with any route that happens. But just factor, if you are going with the traditional fire, is it could take you 5 years, it could take you 10 years to achieve. It's not the year that matters, it's more the saving rate. Can you sustain 10 years worth of saving 62%, 66%, or even 82% of your income? That's a lot. That's a lot. It could be done if you move in, but are you willing to move into another country where you may not have such a good life that you have now? But hey, at least you achieve it. It takes will. It takes willpower to do that, right? So that's my strategy, guys. Focusing on the monthly income. And lastly, how do you achieve that? How do you achieve a monthly income that pays you 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 a month without having to sell the 4%? Because that's the other aspect I mentioned. The aspect is you sell for 4%, you do that for 30, 40 years, you end up with almost no money left at the end of your journey, and the next generation doesn't get anything or very little. As opposed to keeping that 2 million, it generates more value over time and rise as inflation is rising. That is paying you a dividend, and then from the dividend you are paying your living expenses. That's what I focus. Now you might say a $2 million portfolio could give you a $2,000 monthly dividend. It still end up the same way. It's still doing fire. It's at 10 years at the same saving rate. Granted. But is the stock market is the only thing that can give us dividend? Not necessarily. With crypto, we can get what we call staking rewards, which is in terms dividend for holding a stock per se or a position. And right now in cryptocurrency, there's a lot more incentive for people to come in. They're raising the rates. We're talking about a project right now in my Discord group where it pays you 1% per day. I'm doing an experiment with it right now and it's working well. I'm doing more research about it. We made a stream about it. It was the drip, the compound interest stream. Doing an experiment. I still have some concerns about the team building, but based on my research so far, guys, let's just say it's worth doing an experiment. Let's just say that it's worth taking that risk because at the end of a year, it could pay off. It could pay off a lot of things. So that's what I'm working on right now, guys. An experiment on that and see. But even if that experiment fail, I'm still on track to achieve my goal without having to save $2 million in crypto because the staking rewards of other things that I'm doing are so high and building my position every month on them that eventually the value will rise, and that's how I'm going to get to the 2 million. Not necessarily by saving the 2 million, more like maybe saving 100,000 and then that 20x, that 10x. I already told you guys my portfolio 10x, my entire portfolio 10x this year. So I didn't save 100,000. The value appreciation rose so that my portfolio could hit that. Right now, it's not that. Market is taking a beating. But it's good to know, guys. Even though at its lowest point right now, it's still a lot more than what I put in. So you don't necessarily have to save the entire amount. You can leverage innovation. Shout out to the playlist that I'm going to create for you guys. I've already launched the first video of that playlist. I'm going to rearrange it on my home screen so that it makes it easier for you to find. But I made a stream about big ideas from Cathy Wood so that you can understand where innovation is growing to give you big ideas on which industry you should be looking into when it comes to investing for the future, right? Whether you choose stocks, whether you choose cryptocurrencies, but if you're focusing on the right industry, most likely you are going to do well. All right. So that's basically what I wanted to talk to you about it, guys. It's basically what I want to talk to you about tonight. I'm going to wrap up. Make sure, guys, you tune into my stream on the 8th of February, but it's going to happen very late at midnight. It's going to happen at midnight because I'm interviewing someone who's in Dubai and I need them to, I want to go live. I want to go live and give you a chance to answer your question. But if you can't, then watch the replay. But this is going to be one of my best stream because hey, the guy is knowledgeable in what he's doing. Great YouTuber with 10K subs, lots of views on his channel. So make sure you tune in, guys. Make sure you tune in. You're going to enjoy this stream. So let me see if there's any more content. If you have any questions in what I said, guys, I want to hear more from you. Let me know. But if not, interesting concepts, reinvest the recycled money back to the compounding effect. Absolutely. Yeah. Every day, I like clockwork, I reinvest that 1% and I count it, man. It is 1%. It is measured in the cryptocurrencies. I already did an experiment like that last year with V.R.E. I talked to you a lot, guys, about V.R.E. Made a lot of money on V.R.E. this year. I made that experiment, but it wasn't per day. I was getting paid 1% per day, but I couldn't do the compound effect on V.R.E. And then at some point it dropped to 0.07 instead of 1% and all that. But like I couldn't do the recompounding effect every day. I had to wait for a while. Like actually almost every 2 weeks that I did it. I did recompounding every 2 weeks. And even that multiplied my gains way more than I anticipated. But when you do the compounding every day, man, it's one thing to do the calculation of the compounding curve and putting that into numbers. It's one thing to do it. it is a whole nother level than seeing it. And when you see it happening, man, like it makes you understand that curve even more. Like you see the numbers, you see the curves, you know exactly how the theory works. But when you see that number in real life growing, it's like, it helps you like really think about things. It's also very tempting, which is why I have to stay to some level of discipline on this investment. But every day, like clockwork, I get my drips, drip, drip, drip. Every clockwork. Actually, tonight I gotta go and drip again. But yeah, it's an interesting experiment that I'm doing, and we'll see how it ends up. It's based on a game theory, a lot of things, and also a referral. Best way to make business is to referrals. Referrals has always been one of the greatest way marketing for say. So I see a lot of great concept that he incorporated in the protocol himself, but it's just that me, I've gone experience with the multi-layer of referrals per se. I know that strategy is not necessarily good because it could bring the worst in people, right? When people have large incentive to get you on board, they might tell you the wrong thing, the wrong information. If your money is locked and all that, it's like that's the part I don't like about it. But I like that there is a part that kind of limits you in a way that even if you have more people, you don't necessarily make more money. But again, it's an experiment that I'm doing. It's worth trying. Shiba to me was an experiment. Turns out very good for me. V.R.A was more than an experiment, but I was experimenting with V.R.A. I did great there. Lots of money, more than 10. The value appreciation did 8x, but when you add the compound effects, it was 10x, right? And that was every 2 weeks basically that I was not even every. Sometimes I would do it once a month. Actually, I remember once I waited 2 months before I would compound it again. But yeah, the compounding effect is something, man, that's magical, man. Like Albert Einstein was onto something, man. It's eight wonders of the world. Do you see the numbers? It's just like when you see the number, you do the calculation, your mind doesn't really compute that it's even possible. Like you assume that the math works, so you believe the math, but when you start seeing it and then you see the math again, and you're like, holy cow, it is working. And then you're looking at the end of the curve where it really like skyrocket, and you're like, holy cow, okay, okay. That's where that experiment is running. Anyway, guys, if you want to learn more about what I'm doing right now, check out the drip system. Shout out to Maki from the Discord. He put me into this game. He was telling me about it for months and months, but I was disciplined as an investor. I was sticking with what I said to say for the year. But now I can take a little bit more risk because I build up a portfolio that allows me to still achieve my goals in a timeline that allow me to achieve it, whether the market goes up or down. Therefore, I can now take a little bit more risk because my foundation is clean. My foundation is set. It took me almost 2 years to build that foundation. So now that that foundation is set, I can add more poles into the house, the empire that I'm building. All right. But work on your foundation, guys. Think about taking out your money before you putting that money back in, right? Before you invest that money, think about how you're going to take it out. If we're talking about from the concept of fire, hey, you follow exactly the step by step what fire is saying. If that works for you, for me, what works is I couldn't do 80% because I did want to retire in 5 years. So I did not want to do 80% of my income because that would have given me a life of hell that I was not ready to live. Instead, I did 50% investing in trend, right? Investing in cryptocurrencies at the right time or investing in innovation stocks that can rise faster within 9 months so that I can build up my portfolio the fastest and then stay focused, focused, focused for a very long time until I was able to rise this year my portfolio to a six-figure amount. But that's how I did it. Now I'm taking a little bit more risk, but only because my foundation is intact. I am not touching that. And based on my projection, I'm still going to achieve that in 5 years, regardless. Because hey, I'm making money now, I'm making money in the future. And my number so that I can live a comfortable house is not that $2 million you need to pull out 4%, assuming inflation is 2%. It could be 3%, right? Shout out to Before the Billion for mentioning that. It could be more. Shout out to Peter Investor for mentioning that. But right, I don't like to focus on taking out that money. I would much rather have that money grows over time with inflation and it pays me without having to sell it. That's the game that I teach, how to do it more efficiently, everything you need to know before you do it. Make sure you tune in on a stream that I'm going to do, 0% tax, how you can learn how to keep more money in your pocket legally. So tune in for that. We're going to have a consultant who's doing that as a job. That's basically his job, is giving people advice and what they can do on saving money on tax legally. All right. And also make sure you tune in. I'm going to drop a code at some point for my course. I'm turning 36 years old this year. Therefore, I'm giving 36% off on my financial course. And next week, I'm going to be a speaker at an event, following right after a keynote speaker in my city. As I'm helping the youth to be more financially educated. So you might see that on my social media here and there. So, but hey, that's what I'm going to do this week. But if you guys want to reach out to me, guys, Discord is the best way. And stay tuned. Make sure you tune into that stream on. It's going to be late, I know, at midnight. But tune in, guys. Tune in anyway, and I'll be looking for your questions. If not, watch the replay. With that said, guys, thank you very much for tonight. Thank you all for the subscribers, the new subscribers, the OGs, the Wealth Engineering, and especially the sponsors of these streams, Mr. J Bones, Mr. Aaron B, and the official sponsor of this stream, Mr. Peter Investor M. Thank you very much for everyone who was in the chat, interactive. Thank you for everyone who showed up. And with that said, see you on the next one.
Hey, yeah. It's all about wealth engineering. Might be something that you're not used to. It's okay, cause I'm here to introduce you to concepts. Time to grow and make big moves. All about crypto, come see. Stocks and business, yes indeed. Got the info that you need. Hosted by my homie JC. Hey, yeah. Wealth engineering. Stacking and stacking it up. It's time to generate wealth. Till you living like Scrooge McDuck.